Good morning. Welcome to the 2019 EKU Fall Convocation. Please welcome now the President of Eastern Kentucky University, Michael Benson.
Well, good morning. I take John with me everywhere. Thank you, John. We've not had rain for, 3 weeks, and today it just happened, so I hope nobody got hit by that lightning on the way in. But we also hope that it clears up in time for our picnic. Let me start by thanking Skip Doherty and the Center for the Arts staff for hosting us once again. Thank you, Skip. This is an incredible venue, and we're so fortunate to have it and to take advantage of it for this employee convocation. Speaking of employees, I would like all of the employees that were hired from September of 2018 to today, so you're in effect new in the last 12 months or so, just shy of 12 months. All the new employees, faculty and staff, please stand up. We are delighted to have you. Welcome to the EKU Colonel family. And as you and I all know, this really is the most wonderful time of the year.
Wonderful time of the It's that time of year again. They're going back. It's back to school time at Staples. Over 7,000 supplies at guaranteed low prices. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Staples. That was easy.
Well, how about that? We all know that that's true. We love holiday seasons, but there's no more exciting time of the year, I would argue, than right now. It's been a good summer, and I'll go through some summer highlights, but there's nothing better than welcoming our new students, particularly our freshman class, but also returning students and the faculty and staff back to campus. I hope you've had a chance to do some summer reading. That is not Chair Diaz, by the way. But I had a chance to take a course on medieval England from Beowulf to the Battle of Bosworth. Those of you who know your British history, of course, the Battle of Bosworth, where Richard III was defeated by the Earl of what town, or where? Earl of what? Richmond, there we go, Earl of Richmond, Henry VII. We've read several different books, including The Ecclesiastical History of the English People by the Venerable Bede, one that I tried to skim through, The History of the Kings of Britain, Geoffrey Monmouth, and of course, Froissart's Chronicles. Hey, a little shout out for medieval England, all right. One highlight, however, was I had not seen the film from 1968, The Lion in Winter. An unusual part of this, an aspect of this film was Katharine Hepburn there on the left and Peter O'Toole on the right. It's the only time in the history of the Academy Award for Best Actress that it was shared by two actresses, Katharine Hepburn and Barbra Streisand. Barbra Streisand won for Funny Girl. But you can see down here on the right, Richard I is played by Anthony Hopkins. Oh, Sal, thank you. I better look at the left side of the screen. There we go. Thank you very much, Michael. It takes a New Yorker to be so bold to shout out like that. Thank you, Mike. All right, back to Katharine Hepburn. She shared the Academy Award with Barbra Streisand. Peter O'Toole, if you've not seen it, I highly recommend it. But down here in the right-hand corner, Anthony Hopkins plays Richard I. Geoffrey, who is the only one of their sons not to be king, is in the middle there. And John, King John, is in the bad King John from Robin Hood, was the successor to Richard, his brother. Now, the gentleman in the middle, John Castle, plays Geoffrey. And my favorite scene from the movie is this next one, which we're certainly a family here at EKU, but we're not nearly as dysfunctional, I would hope, as this family, but we are knowledgeable.
I know. You know I know. I know, you know, I know. We know Henry knows, and Henry knows we know it. We're a knowledgeable family.
Let's see that one more time. It was a lot funnier. Well, it was a lot funnier in my office when I played it the first time. Actually, funnier is not a word. It was more funny. Excuse me, English faculty. Here we go. We'll try it one more time. Katharine Hepburn on the left and Jeffrey on the right.
I know. You know, I know. I know, you know, I know. We know Henry knows, and Henry knows we know it. We're a knowledgeable family.
Okay, there we go. All right, so. I hope we are a knowledgeable family. We are in the knowledge business. But the movie itself is, of course, entirely fiction. But it was set in 1183. Now, Henry the Young King, who was the successor to his father, Henry II, died in June of that year, 1183. This movie is set in Christmas time of 1183. And as I said, Richard I is played, Richard the Lionheart, by Anthony Hopkins, his very first film role, by the way. So I highly recommend it. There's your film tip for the day. Summer at EKU, just a few images to highlight what's been going on. I want to give a shout out, I will in a second here, to our facilities folks about our day of service, but the farmers market, always very popular. Shakespeare in the Ravine, we had on July 19th and 20th and 26th and 27th, Much Ado About Nothing that ran and was hugely successful and featured several of our former students. You can see in that photograph. Summer camps, 62 camps in total, over 7,000 campers. The College of Science held its second summer camp for rising high school juniors, and it's always great, of course, to welcome these campers to campus, as well as the Foster Music Camp, which we had this year. The very first class from, I believe, 1937. As you may know, Foster is the second oldest continuously running camp in America behind Interlochen. And at 97 years old, this woman came back to campus to celebrate her time as a clarinetist in the late 1930s. The Special Olympics celebrated its 25th year on campus. We love having all of those participants and the volunteers on campus, and I want to especially thank all those in our community that volunteer. It's a wonderful event to showcase the campus and showcase these really remarkable athletes and their accomplishments. We had our second annual Trivia Night at Elmwood, 42 teams, 300 participants. Never bet against Charles and Tom Appleton. I'm not sure who won, but we were there, and you can see the queue up for folks that wanted to get inside of Elmwood. If you have not had the chance to tour the mansion, pay attention, if you will, please, to future opportunities. But just so you know, we're in consultation now with the city to try and open up the grounds to Elmwood to our community with walking trails and make it a little more accessible. Not so much the house, because the house is in a state of somewhat, it needs renovation, I'll just say that. But we had a wonderful occasion to showcase the property, and we hope we can make that more accessible to our community. The EKU Day of Service was a wonderful occasion. We had over 175 participants. Right here you can see at Blanton House, we went through 11 pallets and 715 bags of mulch just to spread the mulch around that historic home. 49,000 square feet of area were attended to, and weeds were pulled, including the ravine and the Karloftis Gardens, and we enjoyed a wonderful lunch with Raising Cane's, thanks to them in the ravine after. I tried my best to get this hashtag to trend, hardest working provost in America. But Jerry, it was a real treat spreading mulch with you, and boy, he got after it, and we were both kind of sweaty messes after, but it was a great kind of esprit de corps builder for our campus. I'd like to see more of this, and we may plan one in the future during the fall where we involve all the faculty and staff that will be on campus. This, of course, done before school starts, but also involve the students and also involve our community. Possibly do a kind of a cleanup day throughout Richmond. just kind of spread out and do our best to show we're good partners. But again, Jerry, I think you may want to use that for your profile picture. I'd like to now turn some time over to the new chair of our board, Mr. Luis Diaz, the youngest and the first Latino chair of our board of regents here at Eastern Kentucky University. He is going to speak about some changes to the board and also say whatever he likes. So Chair Diaz, please.
President Benson says that I can say whatever I like, but there's a technology team back here that's got me on a 5-second button that they could just shut me down whenever I go off topic. Anyhow, I am the chair of the board. That transition happened in January. And I got to tell you, it's an honor and a privilege to work for the board members in serving you. And that's the way it's supposed to work. The Board of Regents elects a board chair. And in my capacity as a chair, I work for them in representing the board and serving the institution. I think I summed it up yesterday in a conference call that I had with the team, and we were talking with President Benson and other members of the executive team. And Mike made a decision that I said, and they came around to me and said, well, what do you think? I said, well, I think my job is to support the president, and the president's job is to make it easy for me to support him. And Mike, you're making it easy. So that's been my experience this year. I've really seen a lot out of Mike since January. He's been hitting the road. He visited high schools. He's been working development as hard as he can work. I mean, he's really, really stepped it up since January. And I'm proud to be the board chair and have President Benson as our president. And I look forward to all the great things that he's going to do throughout the rest of this year. He's got a full agenda, and he's got a schedule that I am not jealous of. Anyway, Board of Regents, we've got some transition that's happened over the course of the year. As you know, Chair Turner has stepped off the board. He was replaced by Lynn Taylor-Ty. Lynn, are you here? I think somebody said you were here today. In any case, the first conversation that I had with Regent Ty to congratulate her on being appointed, she was reading board minutes from the Board of Regents meetings, and I can think of nothing that can be more boring than reading board minutes. But that gives you an idea of the kind of engagement that Lynn expects to have and the kind of service that she wants to provide the university. So I told her to put down the board minutes, and I sent her some of our official statements, the financial documents that we give to the municipal marketplace when we're issuing bonds and things of that nature. I said, read this. This is a more effective tool in putting you to sleep right away. But Lynn has been really good about engagement. She's paid attention, very close attention, in the financial sector. She's got an insurance background, and she was made the chair of the finance committee, which is a pretty quick transition for her. But I think in that space, being available, being close by, and being willing to put in the time is what matters. And Lynn has all of that. In addition to it, she's a tremendous talent and a good add-on for us. So I'm glad that she's with us, and I look forward to working with her very, very closely. You all, the faculty members, also elected Jason Marion to replace Richard Day. I saw Regent Day here earlier, and I got to tell you that if you're not everybody attends the board meeting, so you don't hear the dialogue that occurs during the meeting. But I can tell you that Richard is someone that is missed. And there are times during our board meetings where Richard pushes and he challenges me. And I got to tell you that I really enjoy that. I enjoy being pushed. Some people think, oh, you guys are arguing or you guys aren't aligned. It's like, that's healthy, right? Regular discourse is healthy. And even this morning, I was sharing information with Richard, and I was soliciting his reaction. I was hoping that he would push back or have something challenging to say, because in that challenge, I believe that I get better and I serve you better. So Richard, you're missed on the board. I'll keep shooting you emails here and there, soliciting some feedback. But we are lucky to have Regent Marion. He's a faculty member that I got to know in his presentations about innovation and the innovation fund that the board created last year that we're going to repeat this year. Shameless plug for that. We're setting aside $250,000 to fund ideas that come from the general population, from faculty, from staff, from anyone. If you've got something that might provide a return to the university, whether it's a better process, whether it's a patent, something, bring it forward. We want to hear from you. And so that's something that was my first introduction to Regent Marion. And in the time that he's been on the board, I've been able to work with him and see that he brings ideas to the tables, he raises his hand, he challenges, which, as you know, as I've already told you, I appreciate that. That's what we want. I think he's going to represent the faculty very, very well, and I'm excited to work with him for the remainder of my term. We also have a new student regent by the name of Madison Lipscomb. Madison has been before the board a couple times, though I've not worked with her as closely. In her presentations, I can tell that she's going to be very, very engaged for a student regent, and I look forward to seeing what she has to say and receiving the student insight through her eyes. And on that is, to me, that's the biggest, we're all here for the students, and at times, I'll hear one division of the campus say, well, this property or this asset belongs to this group, or this belongs to student life, or this is athletics. I just take a step back and say, folks, it's all students. Everything that we do is students. If it's an athletic field, it's for the students. If it's a study lab, it's for the students. I don't care what hat the student wears, whether they call themselves an athlete, whether they call themselves the mock trial team, whether they call themselves the alphabet soup. It's all for students. Because we're no longer at a place as an institution that we can segregate ourselves and have this little pocket for these people and this little pocket for that. We have to figure out how to leverage each other and how to work in partnership. And if you're a person that attends the board meetings, you know that that word is something that I use quite a bit. And I can go into a legal soliloquy about what partnership really means in the context of the law, but I will tell you briefly, it's two people working together for a common purpose. And for me, the big picture in there is that the big divide for a university that I see as a relative outsider is faculty and staff. Those are two separate divisions that, in my view, have to work as closely as possible for us to get the greatest return for our students. That is the thing that drives me the most. It's something that I'm always talking about, partnership. And in thinking about how to do that better, we reorganized as a board. We did that because, it's a good business practice to think about what are you doing, what are your challenges, and are you organized in a way to address those challenges? So we looked at our bylaws, and I think things were working okay, but I felt like we can do better. I talked to other board members about it, received some feedback, talked to the administrative team. We looked at some of the guidance that the Association of Governing Boards provides to us, and we said, you know what? It makes sense to periodically reorganize your committee structure, and we did that. In the last board meeting, the board changed the committee structure to consolidate committees and frankly create 3 new committees that I'll talk to you very briefly about. The first that I'll mention is Diversity Inclusion Committee. We did that because we felt like, well, first of all, we probably have the most diverse board in the country. On the Board of Regents, you have an Asian, you have a Cuban, you have a guy from Ecuador, and you've got several women. That's pretty diverse for a regional comprehensive university in the middle of Kentucky. That's diverse for Florida or California, okay? So I think, and I don't know that anybody planned it that way, it just happened. So diversity and inclusion is important to us. It's part of our value system. That doesn't mean that we're gonna sacrifice quality or expertise or that we're gonna do something or make exception on account of where I was born or something else. We're gonna try to hire the best people and promote the best people possible. That's the value that we're gonna encourage and demand of our president. But we also want to be intentional about diversity and inclusion amongst our staff, and we're gonna be intentional about helping students who are diverse and feeling welcome on our campus and in our programs. That's part of our value system, and it's part of what's important to the board. So we organize a committee around that to frankly help support the president in something that I know is very important to him. So second committee is Organizational Performance, Enrollment Growth, and Student Success Committee. Those 3 things are tied together. It's something that I think we've spent the most time talking about since I've been on the board. And we organize ourselves around that. And what does it look like for us to perform better as an organization? What does it look like for us to have better systems? And how can the board support that as we move forward? Each board has a staff liaison. This this committee, the liaisons are Dr. Tanley Wassoon, Dr. Polka, and John Williamson, who's a superintendent at Model School. I think Tan Lee is a super talent. I've gotten excited to know her. My analysis of what this committee can do for us is anybody seen Moneyball, baseball movie? Basically it's a movie about how the Oakland A's were able to compete for championships with a budget that's far inferior than everybody else's, which is not dissimilar to where we're at. We know that we've got competition up the street who's got a much bigger budget than we do. So what are the things that we can do to be more targeted about the way that we spend money, about the way that we recruit, and about the way that we perform? And our assessment is that Tan Lee is a data wonk and that she's going to help us figure out the calculus of how we become super targeted and how we get to a win, even though we might have less resources in the competition. The other thing is John Williamson. What he has done at the Model School over the last year has been pretty impressive. I think he brings a fresh perspective from having run a couple of school districts throughout the Commonwealth and his time in New York. And I'm interested to see which of the ideas that he brings to the table might be translated into a bigger impact in the university. So really looking at them to work with Mike and give us something that maybe it's different. Maybe we look at it and say, hey, this isn't going to work, or maybe it might be the thing that takes us over the next hill. As you know, we've got major assets coming online this year, so everything that we're doing in this space is thinking, hey, we've made the investment in our physical infrastructure. We now have to capitalize on those assets to have the best possible enrollment year that we can beginning fall 2020. So these assets come online this year. It'll be the time that we're recruiting students. So we want to be aggressive. We want to leverage those assets, and we want to beat every institution in the Commonwealth in recruiting students. The last committee that I'll tell you about is student life and athletics. And this is another area where I think often there's a dichotomy on campus in terms of how we interact with each other. And I think, Mike talked to us about the Vanderbilt approach and how they do things, and that really resonated with me because I think that in general, we're doing two things here on our campus. We're providing education, and we're providing education through experiences. And the education through experience is happening in the classroom, but it's also happening in the dorm room and in the social events that we provide on campus. When I think of my time here as a student, yes, I think of Dr. Coleman in class and how awesome he was, but I also think about the things that happen in the dorm room. I think about the experience. And that student life is part of the experience. We make a major investment in athletics. We look at athletics as marketing. We look at athletics as part of the experience. If student life and athletics aren't working together to allow us to leverage marketing, to allow us to create the best possible experience for students, then we really have to reassess what we're doing. So we want our board to be positioned in a way that encourages people in student life and people in athletics to work together to create the best possible experience for students, because at the end of it, right, that's what we're here for. We're here for the students. I think I've gone longer, Mike, than you might have had me go, but I got to tell you folks, it is an honor to serve on your board. Whether you know it or not, the board members are people who are fighting for you. They're fighting for you in Frankfurt. They're fighting for you in every meeting. They are alumni. They are residents in the Commonwealth. If you see them on campus, stop them, talk to them. We want to engage with you. We want to hear from you. One of the reasons I'm here is to put a face to the thing that people, the chair of the board. I'm a person. I'm a resident. I got 4 kids. My oldest is 9. I want EKU to be the school that my kids choose, independent of any influence that I might provide. Okay, so engage with your board. There's so much going on campus, it's impossible for us to know everything. We know about what you tell us. Raise your hand. If you see us in a cafeteria, stop us and talk to us. When we have board meetings, I've been intentional about setting the board meetings in the afternoon and creating opportunities for regents to spend time on campus in the morning, meandering through buildings, visiting things, focusing on things, because I want to create space where you can engage in a conversation with an individual regent about the important work that you're doing, because it is important. And for that, I thank you all, and thank you for the time that you've given me this morning.
Thank you very much, Chair Diaz. He talked about the future, and you've heard us discuss kind of in the troika, if you will, of people, places, and programs. I'd like to add another triumvirate, if you will, to that three: partnerships, positivity, and persistence. Higher education, and as we study it across our country, is going through sea changes in so many different ways. And it behooves us, as Chair Diaz touched on, we are not nearly as resourced as some other institutions. But I'll show you a slide here in a second that despite some limitations, and I'll never argue for our limitations, with what we have, we are doing extraordinarily well. But we can do better. And so through partnerships and remaining positive, and of course being persistent, I really do believe the future is bright at EKU. I mentioned some appointments here on campus. If I can just touch on a few briefly. Jerry is our interim executive VP for academic affairs and provost. I encourage him to replace that picture again with this picture. And I'm not going to let it go. It's got a trend. Hardest working provost in America. So help us out. Jerry, thank you for your willingness to step into this role. If I can give a shout out to Gene Polka. Gene came to us at EKU in 2011, Gene? After a distinguished military career, chair of a department at West Point, a graduate at West Point. Gene has done so much for so many over that period of time. And he's announced his retirement in January, but I want to personally thank Gene for the impact that he's had on our campus. And Gene, we're going to miss you, but he and his wife, Cindy, will certainly still be part of our community, and I want to thank him for his service. Over the next 6 months, 5 or 6 months, Gene will transition his position to Tanley Wasson, Dr. Tanley Wasson, a graduate of Berea College, a PhD from Hofstra. She knows numbers as well as anybody that I've come across here on campus, and is doing some predictive modeling that's very exciting that will help us as we grapple with some of the challenges of enrollment. Tanley, thank you very much for your willingness to step into this role. So you'll see Tanley in that new position starting January 1st. A face that we're all familiar with, Bettina Gardner. Bettina, where are you? There she is. She's with her library people. Okay, all right. She is a woman of the people, that's for sure. Bettina, thank you for stepping into this role. Julie George has accepted the role as interim dean of the library, and I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the ultimate utility infielder. I'm talking about Dan McBride, who has done a little of everything at EKU, and no one loves EKU more than Dan and his family. So Dan, thank you very much for your service. I appreciate it. Elizabeth Ballou is stepping into the role of Executive Director of Enrollment Management. Again, not to belabor the point, but given that over 90% of our incoming freshman class last year is from the state of Kentucky, we pay very keen attention to what is happening in the high school demographic across our state and really in the region. So enrollment management was one part art, but a lot of part science. And we have a model that is working. Does it need to be fine-tuned? Certainly. And when I say the model, the scholarship model, how we recruit, our messaging, how we reach out to prospective students, all of that is part of the total enrollment management picture. And I want to thank Beth for stepping into this role. Another face that we're familiar with, Ryan Wilson. He splits time between my office and David McFadden's office, but has helped out tremendously of late with the Model Lab School, and I thank Ryan for his help and a new member of our team. The campus revitalization, I won't spend a lot of time, but it's nearly complete. I want to thank everyone for your patience with the green fencing, the orange cones, kind of the disruption to your daily routine in life, but I can promise you, as all those things come down and these buildings come online, as Chair Diaz talked about, we are going to have some facilities that will be unmatched really anywhere in the state. Our new campus rec center will come online in December, be in time for spring semester 2020. Here's some images of that project. And of course, with that will come pedestrian walkways and new landscaping, and we hope a revitalization of Memorial Plaza. But that entire center campus, remember we talked about the Center for Student Life 4 and 5 years ago, and I showed our retreat we had last week with our President's Council, dates and markers we had put down, and by golly, if we haven't reached just about all of them. Now, we've missed on a few, but if I were to take a batting average, we've done pretty well, and it's been a team effort. So many people have pitched in and helped, and we're just about to the end. These are some images of inside of the renovated Powell building. And it's going to be remarkable space for our students, really a new campus living room, if you will, in so many ways. The external part of the building, of course, has gotten a facelift with some new paint. But again, we're trying our best to figure out ways we can address Memorial Plaza and also revitalize that part of campus. At their expense, Barnes & Noble sent us some renderings of what they plan to do with the new bookstore, which will be on the ground level of Powell. And that comes online in December as well, in time for the spring semester. But here are some images of what that's going to look like, the storefront inside the back, kind of the back side of Powell. So as you enter currently in Powell, of course, I know you all know that Starbucks is there, but also Steak and Shake. That's a temporary wall right there in the front. That comes out, and you will then walk into the new storefront of the bookstore. Barnes & Noble is also paying for a fan shop inside of Roy Kidd Stadium, and these are images taken yesterday. So this is in the concourse level there at Roy Kidd, and that'll be done in time for our first home game in just a little over 2 weeks. Of course, we promised updates to classrooms. The top is the Wayland building, the bottom is the Combs building. Bottom right are new modular desks for Wallace 347 and ASL classes. We're continuing to invest from our asset preservation fee into teaching and learning spaces. Now, some of these have not gone as quickly or as expeditiously as we had hoped. That seems to always happen, but still in all, these will come online this semester and next, and we have a continuous process of evaluating what are we doing with our space. Brian Wilcox. Brian, are you here? Brian, where are you, Brian? There we go. Brian and his team are doing a space utilization study that will launch here in just a short while. Where is our space that's not being utilized? What is being overutilized? What areas have acute challenges in terms of the makeup of the space, and how can we improve them? I'll give you a good example. Sarah Ziegler. Sarah came to me, Sarah, 18 months ago? Jeremy, what room is this in Foster Building? What is the Coral? Foster 100. Y'all remember what it used to look like? So this is the band yesterday practicing. The band, which is now 143 strong, new flooring, improvement to the risers, improvement to the walls and to the acoustic ceiling, but the acoustics in there are so much better than they were. But here's an example of investment into those spaces. Now, I say all this, and I know some of you are saying, boy, when's the last time you went to Wallace? Have you been in the Maddox Hall? What about Combs? We have an aging infrastructure, and we are trying our level best to address as much as we can, as quickly as we can, and as effectively as we can. So if you do have some challenges that are particularly pressing, please let Brian know. I know some of you send tweets my way or messages my way, and I'll do my best to address them and get them to the right people. The charges that we implemented with parking have allowed us to do resurfacing of several lots to improve the surfaces, the lighting, the striping, the access. So it's not just that we say, hey, we're going to charge for parking. It's being reinvested back into campus. And I hope you noticed that as well. Chair Diaz mentioned the Model Lab School. John Williamson, will you stand up, please? We were so fortunate to have John on campus. And he has done remarkable things at the university and at the Model Lab School, a graduate of ours. There is a change in admissions policy, and now EKU faculty and staff and their dependents will move to the top of the waiting list. So that is good news. We have some classes that have a longer waiting list than others, but this year we have 725 students, which is 26 more than we had last year. And if you have any questions about the admissions policy, please see John and his colleagues. They held an AP Summer Institute. First time we've ever done that. AP teachers from all over the state and all of the region really came to the Model Lab School, and for some of them it was the first time seeing the facility. Now we're still dealing with the challenge of regulating the temperature inside a model, particularly right now. As school launches tomorrow, I know Laura is laughing, but she won't be laughing tomorrow probably. And my 3 kids will, with everybody else, have to get through the next several weeks. But that comes with a 1960s building. And we're trying our level best to come up with a formula to replace that facility. The new park system certainly has, I believe, simplified our parking. If you have any questions about it, please contact the parking office, but there's no need for a hashtag. Excuse me, a hang tag. I keep talking about hashtags. I see Jerry and I see hashtag. No need for a hang tag. So your license plate is your permission to park. The pay lots will be a mobile app based through Park Mobile application. And campus residents will no longer have to take time and visit the parking office to obtain visitor pass for their guests. They can do all of that online. So, Brian, anything more you want to say about that? You got a place for me? Okay. So if you have any questions, again, please contact our parking office. Our budget implementation, let me back up for a second. The President's Inclusive Excellence Advisory Council. Chair Diaz mentioned the new subcommittee of the board. I'm happy to announce this council, the co-chairs, Dr. Abby Poffenbarger and Christy Middleton, have stepped forward to help us. If you remember 12, 18 months ago, we did kind of a survey of how we're doing on campus. And there were a lot of good efforts as it relates to diversity and inclusion and making people feel welcome across our campus, but we're trying our best to unify those efforts. And this council will look at ways we can do even better to strengthen the dialogue, to expand the dialogue. If any of you remember, Michelle Alexandre from the University of Mississippi came here in April and now is the dean of Stetson Law School. And her visit meant so much to us in so many different ways, but she gave us a lot of things to think about and things to work on. And this council is diving right in, and you'll hear more about it in the coming weeks. Also, Chair Diaz mentioned the Faculty and Staff Innovation Fund winners, a fund of $250,000, board-sponsored resources, matching and seed funds for initiatives that advance the instructional, research, and service mission of the university. We had these presentations back, was it in April, David? And Tom Martin, where's Tom? I think I saw Tom. If you have questions about this fund, please see Tom Martin, but I just want to touch on those that were the first round of winners. Dr. Dana Bush, her proposal requested funds to reconfigure and expand space on campus to leverage Eastern as the healthcare leader in Kentucky. And we're happy to say that that message really resonated with the board, and she was one of the recipients. 2 other colleagues that have been working together, you've probably heard about their recently issued patent, Dr. Lindsay Calderon and Dr. Margaret Denguri. The Springboard for Diagnostic and Chemotherapeutic Platform Development was their project that was funded. And I know I saw Dr. Denguri just a few weeks before the summer break, and she was off to do her research that was being funded in large part by this grant. Dr. Judy Jenkins' proposal to enhance EKU's infrastructure as well as provide an educational and research platform for students in relation to pilot solar array. And you'll see more of these arrays. We have some over, of course, at the Science Building, but stay tuned because we have another installation coming in just the next little while. A very generous donor has helped us and graduated the university with this project. So congratulations to Dr. Jenkins. Dr. Jason Marion was also funded. This was before he was a board member, by the way. This was voted on before he was elected. But rapid detection and enumeration of E. coli by a novel ATP approach. And I won't even try to explain the second one because it's beyond what I understand, Jason, but congratulations to you. This was the first round. Innovation Fund 2. If you have questions about it, again, please refer them to Tom Martin. But workshops about how to apply, what funding might be kind of in the wheelhouse, if you will be forthcoming, and you can contact Tom about those questions. Next, some research enhancement grants. Sponsor Programs is funding $75,000 worth of these grants. These will start in fall, just here in a week or so. You can see what they're for. Project support, publication development support, and grant proposal development support. Gus Benson in Sponsor Research or Tiffany Hamblin can help you with questions relative to that fund. Also, the tuition reimbursement program. I won't go into a lot of detail because it's on the website, but if you have a degree, a training certificate that will help you in your job, you can apply for a reimbursement program for tuition. And again, please refer to the HR website for details. We certainly hope it'll be at EKU, but if we don't have what you need to help you in your position, you can go elsewhere. Also, our first ever employee health clinic is set to open in fall of 2019. It will open, we hope, late October, early November. It will be located near campus. In fact, it's on Boggs Lane, just up from O'Charlie's. It's for benefited employees of on EKU health insurance and their dependents. The clinic will provide preventative, acute, and chronic care services and no copays for PPO plans. So please pay attention to EKU today for further announcements about the opening of the health clinic. I hope you've enjoyed the access to the rec center. The utilization wasn't quite what we expected. The numbers were a little bit lower than anticipated. Still in all, it was a benefit that will remain in place through the semester. But with a new facility coming online, with that facility comes some additional costs. We've tried our best to make them reasonable. I think it's very reasonable for a faculty or staff member for a month long to pay $25. You can see 4 months for $80 or annual for $192. You can do payroll deduction. You can also see down here the family sponsor membership type, if you want to add one family member, 2 or 3. And if you were to compare that with Planet Fitness, which I understand is opening in town, or any other gym in Richmond or Lexington, incredibly reasonable and very, very convenient. Again, our new rec center will open in January of next year with, by the way, the same hours. So no reduction in hours, and I want to thank all of our staff that have helped work so hard to make sure we keep it accessible. Severe weather protocol. A streamlined winter weather protocol will be rolled out to campus just so you know what's happening and when. And believe me, people pay attention to when the snow flies and the ice hits and what will happen to all of our campuses. So please pay attention to that. Skip has made a free concert available. It's called, what's it called? Arts what? Artrageous. So here's a little video featuring what Artrageous does. This is October the 1st, free to you, your dependents, correct, Skip? Just come and get tickets. And, pardon me?
They can pick tickets up today.
You can pick up tickets today to come see Artrageous on October the 1st, and this is what you can expect. So pick up your tickets today. If Indiana Jones says you're the best, that's worth seeing. So thank you very much, Skip, for making that available. You can see the EKU Center schedule. No Nobel laureates this year. Bob Dylan's not coming back, but you can see the rest of the lineup, including it's public now, but Alice Cooper's coming. Is that right? November 18th. Next thing to a Nobel laureate, Alice Cooper will be here in November. That is in November. We're excited about the lineup this year. The 50th anniversary of WEKU. On October the 7th, 1968, WEKU was launched, and just think about the reach that it's had over that half a century, the impact it's had with its programming and broadcasts. So I want to give a shout out to everybody at WEKU. They'll be doing a pledge drive. I'll be participating here in the next week or so. But if you have the inclination, please support them and their continued service and programming. Just a few more announcements before I get to the slide that everybody wants to see. The aviation mechanics announcement that we had back in May, it was a wonderful day. We had a chance to fly to 5 different airports in eastern Kentucky and talk about a nearly $1.5 million grant from the Kentucky Appalachian Regional Commission. The AMT program is taking literally this program to people in these local communities, people that are highly skilled machinists that have over years developed a really unique skill set. And we hope this will be a very attractive program. I understand it's already highly subscribed. We've got our first, David, 32 students that are starting in January. So you'll hear more about that as well. I've learned, this is my 7th time doing this, 6th time. This is the slide that people always want to see. Michael, is the suspense killing you? Yes. Okay, all right. Here are the dates. Okay, fall break, October the 14th and 15th. Thanksgiving is a little unusual this year, a little bit later in the month. You can see the fall commencement on December 13th. The winter break, the one thing we can give you is the gift of time. And so we'll take a half day on the 18th, and then we'll come back on January the 6th. So I hope you enjoy that winter break with all of your friends and family and loved ones. So I can hear the buzz and writing down and typing that into phones. So I hope you do enjoy that time away, but come back on January 6th ready for a new spring semester. You can see the spring break, March 9th to 13th, and then the spring commencement, the 8th and 9th. So some important dates. If I can, I want to turn to a few university highlights as it relates to how we're doing. I mentioned how we're not nearly as resourced as some others, but what are we doing with what we have? As you can see, 75% of EKU degree holders are employed in Kentucky after graduation. This is the highest percentage of any public 4-year institution. You can see the breakdown of associate's degrees, bachelor's, and graduate degrees. We really do serve Kentucky. All this data is from the Center for Education and Workforce Statistics 2018 that CPE puts out. 90%, I mentioned, 90% of our freshman class last year, over 90%, is from the state of Kentucky. Look at that part of the right. 40% of our students will be the first in their families to graduate from college. And that, to me, is the most inspiring sight at graduation when we ask them to stand. And the pride in the faces of the family and the loved ones is you can't replicate that. You can't fake that. That is impactful and is meaningful. In terms of our graduation rates, take a look at this. Our 4-year graduation rate has gone up 10% since 2008. You can see our retention rates. Our 6-year graduation has gone up 9% since 2008. So CPE gives us different metrics. They give us different benchmarks. The 4-year graduation rate, by the way, for us is we're expected at 23%. 4 years, we're graduating at 36. Now it's the third. That means 2/3 are not finishing within 4 years. What about our 6-year graduation rate, which is the federal standard? And you can see what we're doing in that regard. The goal for us from CPE is 45%. For the first time in our history, in last year we eclipsed the 50% mark, and we're holding steady right now at that point. What I'm the most excited about, quite frankly, is this year we awarded 4,154 degrees. It's the first time we've ever surpassed the 4,000 mark. So you say, well, our enrollment's down slightly. Yeah, because a lot of these people graduated. So now you have to go out and replace them. You've got to get a new freshman class. And the challenge of replacing those students that graduate is a challenge that I'll happily deal with. Because the more students we get through the door and we get out the door with a degree, that's what it is about. You can see our retention rate continues to be strong. This is our freshmen, so that's the first time full-time student do they retain from fall to fall. And look at that, we're up at 75.3% this last fall. In terms of admissions, again, the important part is the yield. You can admit students, but which ones come to campus and register and matriculate and start coming to school. But you can look at the number of students that have been admitted and how we're up within our service region. We're up with outside of our service region, out of state, international, and our diverse students too. You can take a look at those numbers. Significant increases in some very important categories. Now, I mentioned performance-based funding. This is a lot of statistics on one slide, but let me just show you the top three, because we're going head-to-head with the Research Ones. And quite frankly, we talk about the regional comprehensives, and yes, we compete with Northern and Western and Murray and Morehead State and Kentucky State. But at day's end, we're in the same pool with everybody. So in 2018, in terms of who did well in the metrics, UK, you can see, did extremely well. It helps to have a teaching hospital and an SEC check every year and a lot of other things. But again, we don't have that, but that's okay. We've got other things going for us. Look at the University of Louisville. Last year, they were at 6 areas where they did well. We were third at number 5. This year, we eclipsed the University of Louisville. So we're in second place behind the University of Kentucky. That's something I think we should all be very proud of. So how about that? Now, there is a look-back period coming up in 2020 where there are only 2 people left. That sounds kind of Hunger Games type of thing, but there are only 2 people left among the presidents that were part of the kind of devising of the formula, and that's Eli Capilouto at UK and me here. And so next year, we'll get around the table with a bunch of new people and talk about how the model can be, I believe, improved and made more advantageous for some of the smaller institutions. The social media ambassador program, as you know, students pay attention to what's on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. So if you're interested, go to that website, and there are all sorts of downloadable images that you can use with the university's logo and stats and information that you can tweet out, that you can be an ambassador for the university. It doesn't fall to me, it doesn't fall to Doug Cornett or Christy Middleton or anybody else or any particular office. It's all of us. We are the face of the university, so I encourage you to get involved. We had back on the 24th of April, I would argue one of the most exciting 24-hour periods that I've experienced since coming to EKU in 2013. We set a goal, cleverly enough, of 424 donors. It was April 24th. It made sense. Well, we blew past that at about the 4 o'clock point of the day. By the end of the day at midnight, we had 736 donors and had raised $125,000 in one day. How about that? This was our first time ever doing anything like this. Other schools have done it. To give you some perspective, Purdue's been doing it for years, Purdue University up in West Lafayette, and I think this year they did on their day of giving, $7 million. So yes, it's relative, but for us, it's a start. And I'm really proud of our development team and all of the donors from all 50 states And believe me, at the end of the day, we were calling North Dakota to find out who we had in North Dakota that could donate. And Brett, thank you very much. The Palmers kicked in, and we had others that helped in places like Rhode Island and other parts of the country. We're going to do that again, so stay tuned. In September, September the 27th, an invitation event here at the Center for the Arts to launch our public phase of the Make No Little Plans. But I'm happy to report today, we set a goal 4 or 5 years ago of $50 million. That was the most in the history of our institution by about $25 million. I'm happy to say that we've already registered in terms of gifts and pledges $38.7 million toward that $50 million goal. And a faculty and staff campaign event will be planned at a later date that all of you can participate in. But on the 27th, we're going to say thank you to the donors that have stepped forward and helped us. The United Way, I know many of you choose to give to the United Way, and I commend you for that. It's, as you know, a broad community-based organization that gives to a lot of different charities, but they will be at lunch today to answer any questions and have some giveaways. The campaign kickoff for our campus is coming up, and just to give you a sense of what we've done over a 20-year period, we have contributed as a campus, as employees, staff, and faculty, $300,000. And just in the last 5 years, it's been $65,000. So we've really stepped up to help our community, and I commend you for it. We've had some faculty and staff recognitions I want to touch on briefly. You can see the folks at the top, Christopher Daniel, Margaret Zellers, Allison Connell, Angela Wood, Brenda Cottle, all of them won the Blackboard Catalyst Award for the EKU Online Rural Health Nurse Practitioner Program. This helps place nurse practitioners in positions all over the state. And those that can't make it to campus for a traditional bricks and mortar program, this is the way we deliver it, online and via Blackboard. And I'm teaching with Blackboard for the first time in the fall. And I'm certainly not as good as anybody that wins an award like this, and I'm looking forward to it because I think it's a great medium whereby content can be delivered. But congratulations to this cohort of faculty and staff. This group, Esther Tattershaw, April Blakely, they won also the Catalyst Award for Online Graduate Education course. This has to do with design that they put entirely, a program, instructional design that put an entire program online. And again, to be recognized for their design and for their implementation says a lot about their capacity and their ability, and I want to commend them. If you look at our enrollment numbers, online is helping us a great deal. eCampus is a tremendous asset that we have, and it will continue to grow. And it's continuing to get more and more people in that space, as you know, throughout the country. It's becoming more and more crowded. This slide here could be titled, "Which of these people is not a foundation professor?" That would be me. Congratulations to Dr. Cynthia Resser and Dana Howell, who were named foundation professors back in April. The highest peer-reviewed award that we have on campus. And I commend everybody that participates with that foundation professor group, because it really is the best of the best, and I commend our 2 newest inductees. Also, you know the Rowlett name. This is Dr. John Rowlett, a emergency medical doctor down in Savannah, Georgia, the son of the gentleman whose name is on the building here down the street. But John has helped to fund a Rowlett Award, and the first recipient of that award is Dr. Erin Presley, and she was awarded that back in April as well. And congratulations to Erin for that award. Way to go, Erin. I won't read through everybody that's on the slide here, but I highly commend the faculty innovators, those faculty that are using and bringing to bear their expertise in teaching and learning practices, classroom techniques, up-to-date pedagogies and technologies to showcase what they're doing. If you have questions, you can see Rusty, you can see any of the faculty innovators that are pictured here. But I had a chance to meet with our new faculty just last Friday. And I said, look, you chose us, yes, we chose you. You could have gone somewhere else. You could have gone to a university or an institution, a college that maybe puts more of a premium on research, but you came here. And what do we do here? We teach. And I think we teach exceptionally well. And I want to thank all those that really put a premium and put great attention and focus on how we can do it better, because it really does make a difference. Here are the winners of the Knoll Faculty Award winners. You can see these were awarded back in May of last year. Congratulations to all of them. Ryan Baggett, Betsy Matthews, Bradford Wood, Cynthia Resser, and Dustin Wygant. So congratulations. Did I leave anybody else out? No, I think I got everybody. Oh, and Sismar, and as well in the Department of Government. So congratulations to these award winners. And you know him as the voice of commencement, but John, senior lecturer in communication, received the Vernon Gann Award for Distinguished Service from the Kentucky Communication Association. So congratulations to John as well. Doug pointed out, and I don't have time to go back to the slide, but we have a new kind of concentrated brand management platform and team. And Doug, if people want information, they can go to the website. Is that right? Okay. But the publications, the messaging that is coming out of that office is being recognized across the state and really across the region and the nation. You can see some of the awards that Case gave to our publications and the Public Relations Society of America Thoroughbred chapter. So congratulations to all those that continue to put out the good word about EKU. The marching band, as you know, went through a period of some, what should I call it, discontent. How's that? That was the winter of our discontent and made glorious summer. Now that's what we're in now. But they have come back with a vengeance. And I'm so proud of the fact that Sarah told me last night we're up to 143, which is, Jeremy, how many more is that from last year? About 25 or 30 non-music majors, by the way. Some of them are music majors, but have joined the band. And they played at Thurby, which is the Thursday before, of course, the Oaks and the Derby. And it was great to be there. First time we've ever had the band perform at Churchill Downs. A couple of students I want to highlight. Sierra Perez, who was awarded a Fulbright scholarship. She's already a world traveler. She spent a semester abroad studying in Bangkok and visiting countries like China, India, and Vietnam in the Far East. She graduated with a degree in globalization and international affairs, and she is off to use her Fulbright in Guatemala, but has brought great renown to the university, and we're very proud of her. Another student that we see, I see on campus quite a bit, Nick Koenig, the fourth ever colonel selected for the Barry Goldwater Scholarship. He's maintained a perfect 4.0 GPA in biological sciences with a minor in chemistry, and is part of our honors program and also a member of the Student Senate. But really kudos to Nick for this scholarship. Alex Dixon was chosen for the Cybersecurity Research Program. He will spend 10 weeks, or already did this summer, at the University in Dayton, Ohio. He's a member of the honors program as well, and has brought distinction to his department, to his college, and has a world of opportunities ahead of him, given his expertise. One of our student leaders that you may recognize, Grant Minix, was just named to the CPE board. Now, the CPE board has one student representative. So for the last 2 years, we've had representation from, why did I just blank on his name? Sebastian Torres, thank you. Sebastian, who is a member of student government here and then went to law school, is still in law school at Northern Kentucky. He rotated off the board, and Grant was just appointed to the CPE board. So we will have an uninterrupted period of 4 years of EKU students representing us on the CPE board. The honors program. David, are you here? David Coleman? David there in the back. Founded in 1988. We will be celebrating, as we did this last year, the 30th anniversary of honors. And as you know, those of you who either teach in it or have had students in it, it is really that experience within an experience. And I want to commend everybody that's part of the honors program and the rigor that is instilled in those courses and the classes and what it does for our students. So, David, to you and your associates, congratulations. Well done. Just a couple of athletic highlights. You've heard about Nick Mayo. He had a chance to play in the Development League this summer, but he's off in Japan. And Nick is the all-time leading scorer at Eastern Kentucky. And even more importantly, I had the chance to shake his hand in May as he walked across the stage with his diploma as a graduate. And I'm really proud of Nick and how well he represents the university. Aaron Torrance was named to the Google Cloud Academic All-America second team as selected by the sports information directors all across America. And she's the very first in our soccer program to be named an academic All-American with that team. So we're very proud of her. And she scored 22 points as a junior playing for EKU. The Bratsky Center performance, I won't go into the numbers, but for all of the student athletes, the 15th straight semester with a cumulative all-student GPA above a 3.0. And one thing I was really proud to see is this year we had more service hours, almost 4,000 service hours in the community on the part of our student athletes, representing us extremely well. The All-A Classic, a great time to have prospective students on campus. It'll be back again, January 23rd to 27th at McBrayer. We continue to learn what works and what doesn't. You remember that first year we shut down a few things to try and accommodate. This year I think we did a little bit better, not having to shut everything down. But the 5-day event in last year brought 30,000 people to Richmond and the surrounding communities. And it's a great way to showcase what the university has. Looking ahead, a couple things I want to touch on before we recognize our employees. The Big E Welcome launches on August the 16th, which is just in a few days with the move-in day on the 16th. Those of you who can help, this is a great way to meet really on the front line new students, their parents, oftentimes extended family who have a difficult time leaving once they help their student move in. But we've also invited all of the parents to join us this year for the Big E Welcome Walk, which will happen on the 16th at 5 p.m. If you have not participated in the Big E Welcome Walk, I really encourage you to do so. Everybody gets a t-shirt. We line the sidewalk. As the freshman class marches in through Turner Gate, we're there to support them. It is a tangible, visible evidence of our collective support of our incoming students. And it's a great way to celebrate their really first week on campus, first day on campus, before they get into orientation activities that night, Saturday, of course, and then Sunday with our convocation here at the Center for the Arts. We also have their class photo, which will be taken. And here's some highlights from Big E Welcome from last year. So again, I encourage you to come and join us Friday evening at the Turner Gate. The first scene there where I put that T-shirt on the young man. We have a lot of siblings that show up in UK gear, and there's this kind of physical reaction to that. So we try and put EKU shirts on everybody that's wearing blue as they come to campus that day. Now look, I get it. I know a lot of you went to UK, all right? That's your alma mater, but we work at EKU. And maroon is our color. So home football schedule, we launch on a Thursday night, which is always exciting, against Valparaiso. Please pay attention to campus closure or campus parking lot closures for that day. We will not disrupt the schedule of classes, however. Class will continue. You may have read there's a school in the SEC that decided to cancel class on the day they had a football game. We will not do that. So class will continue. There will be some disruption, but please stay tuned, and we'll try and make it as seamless as possible. We play the University of Louisville on September the 7th, and there will be a tailgate, and you can go to that website to get information. Science Week is also coming up September 9th to 14th. Tom, how many years have we done Science Week?
This would be the third year.
This is the third year. It's a wonderful week to highlight and showcase the facility, the work of our students, and of the projects of our staff and faculty, and I encourage you to participate in that as well. The fall 2019 EKU magazine will be out in October. Great way to tell the story about our graduates and about what's going on campus, so pay attention to that. Finally, I see Eric. Eric, the Chautauqua Lecture Series theme this year, Balance and Resilience. You want to say anything about it?
Yeah. We have 12 lectures scattered throughout the year on Thursday nights at 7:30 at O'Donnell Hall. Please join us. Please incentivize your students to come. We always have, as you know, attendance slips for students, but I love it when I see students taking notes and being asked to write a short review or a report. We will also be hosting our annual art exhibition in January and February with the collaboration of the Department of Art and Design. The website is fully updated. Details are there. Let me know at eric.liddell@eku.edu if you have any questions. I'd be happy to respond.
Perfect. Thank you. One of the great lecture series we have at the university that really showcases what we offer, but also allows our visitors when they come to campus to see what the university is all about. Homecoming will be October the 4th and 5th. We learned our lesson not to program homecoming on the week of fall break. So that will be a full week, and we encourage all of you to come and participate. As I turn the podium over to Dan McBride, I want to tell all of you again how excited I am about the future of the university. It's not to say that we don't have challenges. Higher education in America is going through one of those periods where a lot of people are questioning what we do and why we do it, how we do it, and how much it costs. But at day's end, an investment in education, like Benjamin Franklin said, always pays the best dividend. And what a student pays here at the university, at Eastern Kentucky University, is I believe, a tremendous investment in themselves and in their future. That investment is made every day by you, by the faculty and the staff. You know, our job as the administration is to give you the tools to do your job. So if we're not doing it right, if we're not doing it effectively, please let us know. I know some of you do already, and I appreciate that. We'd appreciate that. I look forward to working with Professor Choka this year as the head of the Faculty Senate. There's a lot to be excited about. So thank you for your service. It's going to be a great year, and go Colonels. Thank you very much.
You're hanging around now,
Yeah.
because you're doing something.
All right, at this time, we will transition the program into our employee recognition portion of the program. I would like to ask, and you should have been notified this week by email if you are being recognized this week. So if you're being recognized for 20, 25, 30, 35, or 40 years of service, we ask that you please make your way down front now because we will be calling you onto the stage here in just a few minutes. So again, 20, 25, 30, 35, and 40-year honorees, please come down front, and we're asking you, house left is where they would like for you to go. House left. Which side is it? Oh, that's this side over here. House left. This is our 42nd annual employee recognition event. We have had it in many different places. I think this is our second or third year here at the Center for the Arts. We will recognize 375 employees this year who have reached a milestone during the last fiscal year. The recognition for this year's event is based on anniversary dates that fall July 1st, 2018 through August 31st, 2019. That's a departure from what we've done in previous years, which was July 1st through June 30th. So I know it's a little bit confusing. Some of you are being honored a year after you reach the milestone, but that's how we record it and make it official, is at the end of the year. When the presentation is over, we will have free lunch provided outside under the tent. The good news is the rain has stopped. It may be a little bit soggy, but the rain has stopped. So we'll all eat a free lunch as soon as we finish. The first thing we would like to do today is recognize those who are celebrating 5 years of service to the university. Our 5-year honorees, we ask, would you please stand to be recognized? There are 137 employees in this group this year. Please give them a round of applause. And for those of you who are celebrating 5 years, we ask you now to exit the building, if you would, exit, and they're going to take your picture together. So those who just stood up to be recognized for 5 years, please slip out, and they'll take your picture, and you can go on to lunch. We also, at this time, would like to recognize our 10-year honorees. If you are a 10-year honoree, please stand. We have 102 employees in this group. Please give them a round of applause. The 10-year honorees can also exit for a photo and head on to lunch. We also have 15-year honorees. There are 54 employees in this group being recognized for 15 years. Would you please stand, and then we'll recognize them with applause. All right, for the few of you who are left, we will now recognize the 20, 25, 30, 35, and 40-year honorees, and I will bring Dr. John Strada back to the stage for that.
As your name is called, please come to the stage to receive recognition. First, we will honor the employees with 20 years of service at Eastern Kentucky University. Earl Angel. There's Earl. All right. We have Earl, Felicia, and Brooke. Felicia Ballard. Brooke Bentley. Dana Bush. Marco Chalka. David Coleman. Sharon Evans. Todd King. Billy Martin. Stacy Mays. Daniel McBride. Jennifer Newman. Norman Powell. Charlotte Rich. Shirley Rivard. Ann Smith. Matthew Winslow. Garrett Yoder. Next, we will honor those who have served 25 years at EKU. David Blaylock. Tammy McIntosh. Michelle Rice. And now our 30-year honorees. Who have we? Oh. Okay. Colleen Schneck. And now our 30-year honorees. Paul Baker. Douglas Cornett. Lawrence Hayes. Patricia Woods. And finally, with 40 years of service to Eastern Kentucky University, Carol Thomas. This ends our recognition ceremony. Please join us outside for our celebration. Thank you and have a great day.